Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Chairman of Atlantik-Brücke, Sigmar Gabriel.
Dear Fred Kempe, ladies and gentlemen, and I don't know if Ambassador Nicholas Burns could hear us in Beijing. It's a great honor for us that he will be our guest speaker, but unfortunately he was not able to come, and maybe it's better that he stood in China than coming to New York. But I'm very happy that we will listen to him and his perspectives to the, I would say, US-European challenge coming from China and how to overcome the danger of unintended conflicts and how to deal with this big country which makes us life a little bit difficult through the last years. We know that he's in the virtual waiting room in the US Embassy. So Fred Kempe and I will keep our opening remarks as short as possible. And dear esteemed guests of the Transatlantic Forum and GeoEconomics, it's my great privilege to welcome you to the third edition of Atlantik-Brücke's and Atlantic Council's annual flagship conference. We are holding the Transatlantic Forum on GeoEconomics for the first time here in the United States, following a successful premiere in the Financial Center of Frankfurt in 2002 and a remarkable continuation in the Political Center of Berlin last year. We believe there is no more fitting time or place for this event than right now in New York City, with the United States being just 6 weeks away from its presidential elections. And I'm sure this significant topic will undoubtedly provide a compelling backdrop for our panel discussions and keynote conversations throughout the day. Additionally, we are in the midst of a pivotal week coinciding with the United Nations General Assembly. This gathering attracts high-level government representatives and private sector executives who are here to address some of the most pressing challenges of our time. Both the Atlantik-Brücke and Atlantic Council are thrilled that so many distinguished state officials, business leaders, and experts have agreed to share their insights at this year's Transatlantic Forum. So thank you for being here, and I look forward to an engaging and productive day ahead. As you take a closer look at today's agenda, you will notice we are going to cover a wide range of topics of the forefront of economic policy, guided by the expertise of our esteemed speakers. Each segment addresses complex issues that could stand alone for a day-long conference. Our goal today is to give you the full picture and to contextualize the interconnections between finance, technology, and energy. These three fields are the backbone of today's international economy. Ladies and gentlemen, let me be very clear. Our paramount goals are to secure the global financial system, to enable technological innovation, and to drive the energy transition. A common thread unites today's session: the importance of Western alignment among governments, parliaments, and the public and private sector of democratic partners. The United States and the European Union have to unleash their full potential through close cooperation. If we fail to do so, we risk allowing illicit financial flows, cyber attacks, and threats to critical infrastructure and sensitive technology. Additionally, dependencies on energy sources and critical materials from state actors like Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea could severely undermine our economies and societies. As transatlantic partners, the United States and Europe should diversify markets and lock arms in setting global standards. We must acknowledge that the United States has been a trailblazer, especially when it comes to some aspects of advanced technology. However, the European Union should never underestimate the economic strength of its single market in safeguarding the security and prosperity of the 27 27 European member states. Germany is also learning to live up to its economy size, its geographical position, and the political role that partners and allies ascribe to us. My home country can and must do more to contribute to a more robust international financial order. The most important measure to achieve this aim is to establish the European Capital Markets Union, which is a long overdue. With this step, the euro could play a truly global role. We could enjoy a much more robust investment climate across our continent and widen the scope for international players, including those hard at work in this city. In Germany, we also face challenges upholding the quality of excellent education system. We need far less bureaucracy and to deepen trade with democratic geopolitical partners, just to name a few examples. Maintaining strength and competitiveness is key to playing an influential role in Europe and in the world. Germany already has a great track record transitioning to the future of energy and energy technology. On average, half of our electricity generation already comes from renewable sources. But of course, we are on the eve of the US elections, and we all know that elections, both in the US and Europe, can shift political priorities, but the challenges in finance, technology, and energy will not. The Atlantik-Brücke is a deep professional network, and we have always been committed to strong Atlantic relations. Germany and the United States need each other, both politically and economically. Our first goal should be to keep our partnership strong from the bottom up and among professionals in their many transatlantic walks of life. For this reason, conferences like this are more valuable today than even before. Let's use this day to talk each other, discuss our differences, strengthen our commonalities, and deepen our understanding of each other. Dear Fred Kempe, it's once again my great pleasure to open the Transatlantic Forum on GeoEconomics alongside with you. On behalf of Atlantik-Brücke, I want to thank you for the excellent cooperation with the Atlantic Council, and now the floor is yours. Thanks.
Thank you, Sigmar, or as I knew you during my time in Europe, Minister Gabriel, many years as minister. Thank you to the Atlantik-Brücke for your continued partnership on this forum. Thanks particularly to Julia Friedlander and your incredible team, to Josh Lipsky and his incredible team, particularly Kim Donovan and Maya Nikoladze. It's the first time, as Sigmar said, that we're hosting the forum in the US. Previously in Frankfurt and Berlin, but we decided during this biggest week for global democracy we would bring economics front and center. Why? It's because the idea that economics, national security, and finance are interconnected is core to the work not only of our world-class GeoEconomics Center, but for the entire Atlantic Council. And it made sense right here in New York, the heart of global finance, that we could use this platform to bring together this important audience in person and online. This has been a special week for the Atlantic Council. We started on Monday night with our Atlantic Council Global Citizen Awards, continued Tuesday with our Atlantic Council Global Future Forum, and now we capstone the week with today's Transatlantic Forum and our joint venture with Atlantik-Brücke. This week captures the spirit of the Atlantic Council because we are built to support two pillars of US-European partnership: security and economics. Even the NATO Charter did that, though people forget. There's Article 5, Common Defense, but Article 2, in front of Article 5, reads, members will seek to eliminate confrontations in their international economic policies and will encourage economic collaboration between any or all of them. NATO, Article 2, is an economic article. For many years, we separated these two pillars, and that was a mistake. We forgot an important lesson, that the Cold War victory was as much about the dynamism of our economies and our democracies as it was about our national security capabilities. It's a lesson that Secretary Raimondo reminded us of when she spoke at our Distinguished Leadership Awards in April, when we gave her our highest honor. She said, national security is economic security, and economic security is national security. It's the lesson our mothers and fathers, grandfathers, grandmothers taught us after the Second World War. It's the reason why the Bretton Woods institutions were built in the first place. And don't forget, the Bretton Woods Conference was in July 1944, more than a year before the end of the war. That means we are together now asked to write a new chapter of economic history, no less important than at that time. The ideas that will fill those pages will come from convenings like today's. You're not bystanders, you're actors in writing new pages of economic history. What began in Frankfurt 2 years ago helped lead to the blueprint for an economic statecraft plan announced in Berlin last year. What was debated by Ambassador Tai last year became the genesis for our new research launched today on electric vehicles and supply chains. So crucial, certainly to the United States, maybe even more so to Europe. So what great ideas will be spawned by this year's forum? Over the course of the day, you'll hear from leaders of global finance like Adina Friedman, the CEO of NASDAQ, who we gave our highest honor for distinguished business leadership. You'll hear from people who have led the way in designing economic statecraft response to Putin's war of aggression in Ukraine, like Deputy National Security Advisor Dalip Singh. You'll hear people who are on the front lines of ensuring that rule of law, the single most important concept that underpins the entire economic engine of this country and our transatlantic relationship, is being upheld. And that will be Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco. It's just an amazing lineup. And speaking of an amazing lineup, perhaps Nick Burns, Ambassador Nicholas Burns, who will be the first speaker here, is a perfect person where he really embodies himself the twin pillars of economic and national security. He served as U.S. Ambassador to the People's Republic of China since 2022. He previously served as U.S. Ambassador to Greece, as Undersecretary of State for Political Affairs in the Bush administration, and as America's ambassador to NATO during and after the attacks of September 11th, when I was living in Brussels as well and was leading the Wall Street Journal Europe, and I got to know Ambassador Burns extremely well. He is one of our country's most accomplished and distinguished diplomats in public service. His career embodies this intersection of economic and national security, which animates this conference. But I also want to tell one story, and then I'll pass to Josh Lipsky, to pass Ambassador Burns for his remarks, and then after that he'll join Senior Director of the GeoEconomics Center, Josh Lipsky, for a conversation. Ambassador Burns was an Atlantic Council board member for many years, but before that, in 2007, when I first came to the Atlantic Council, I visited him at the State Department where he was Undersecretary of State. I asked for some advice about where I should take the Atlantic Council. He inspired where we are today. Certainly, we had to double down on the transatlantic relationship and NATO and our relationship with the European Union. Certainly, we also had to work to finish Europe, whether in the Balkans, whether with Ukraine, but Nick has always been passionate about that. But where he was most inspirational was when he talked to me about how the transatlantic relationship had to go global, or we would become inconsequential to each other. And that's also what this conference is about, this transatlantic application of our values, policies, purpose to the global stage at this inflection point in history in security, economic, and environmental terms. So with that, Ambassador Burns, it is an honor to pass to you, and then we'll have Josh lead the conversation after that.